If you ever find a wooden box half buried in the roots of a tree that shouldn't exist, a tree growing in the middle of a parking lot, its roots cracking concrete, its bark carved with symbols you don't recognize, don't open it. Walk away. Call someone. Pretend you never saw it. I didn't walk away, and I have spent every day since wondering what my life would look like if I had. It was a Tuesday in October when I found it. Cutting through the alley behind the old Nakamura building, the one condemned since the 90s. There was a tree there, enormous, ancient-looking, that I had never noticed before. Not once in 6 years of walking that route. Its bark was carved with symbols I didn't recognize, spiraling upward in patterns that looked less like graffiti and more like language. Its roots had cracked straight through the asphalt. Wedged between two of those roots was a wooden box the size of a toolbox. Dark lacquered wood. Iron clasps gone green with age. And faintly, so faintly I thought I was imagining it, glowing from the seams. I stood there for a long time, long enough to miss 2 buses, long enough for the light to change twice without me moving. The box held 10 Pokeballs. 9 were standard red and white, humming with something I felt in my back teeth more than my fingers. The 10th was different, smaller, completely black, and cold in a way that made my palm ache immediately, like touching frozen iron in January. I put it back without thinking. Some instincts exist for a reason. I took the other 9 home. The first one opened by itself. It split open with a sound like a match being struck, and Chikorita shook herself into existence like a dog coming in from the rain. Small, pale green, a single large leaf sprouting from her head like a victory flag. Chikorita smelled like fresh rain on soil. After 30 seconds of staring, she walked to the edge of the table, looked down at my coffee, looked back at me, and made a sound like a sigh, like she had expected better. I poured her a bowl of milk. She accepted this graciously. The second ball opened orange. Cyndaquil materialized in a curl, tiny and shivering, and for 3 seconds nothing happened. Then his quills caught fire and he uncurled, sneezed a fireball that singed my dish towel. He spent the first hour hiding under the radiator, occasionally peeking out to check if Chikorita was still watching. She was always watching. Mareep came next, sparking hard enough to set off my smoke alarm. Cotton white and dopey-eyed, she wandered into walls with the serene confidence of someone who had never been wrong about anything in her life. She shorted out my microwave in 10 minutes and showed no remorse whatsoever. Houndour landed in a crouch, scanned every corner of my apartment in 2 seconds, then sat beside the front door and didn't move. He wasn't aggressive, just watching. Every room, every window, every person who walked past in the hallway outside. Heracross burst from his ball with enough force to crack the ceiling plaster. He crashed into my bookshelf, apologized by trying to pick up the books, knocked over the lamp, then stood in the wreckage looking proud of himself for reasons I still cannot determine. Chikorita watched from the top of the refrigerator with profound exasperation. Kingdra rose from a column of deep blue light, coiling in the air before gravity claimed her. Regal, slow-moving, her golden rings catching the kitchen light. She looked at me the way the ocean looks at a boat. Then she settled on my floor and went still for hours. She eventually claimed the bathtub permanently. I accepted this. Some negotiations are not worth having. Raikou's ball practically vibrated with energy so dense it made the air crackle. When I pressed the button, the apartment went white. He landed with a thunderclap and every light in the building went out. When they came back, massive, tiger-striped, static lifting my hair off my neck. He found my eyes and lowered his head once, deliberately, like a knight taking a knee. Then he walked to the window and watched the sky as if resuming something he had never truly stopped. Ho-Oh materialized near the ceiling in a cascade of fire and gold, every feather cycling through red and green like living stained glass. Too large for the apartment. She knew it. She folded herself down with practiced, weary grace and the room rose 15 degrees. She smelled like cedar smoke and summer lightning. Chikorita climbed onto her wing immediately and refused to leave. Celebi appeared without drama, just materialized beside my ear, hovered, tilted her head at me with enormous forest green eyes. She touched my cheek, and for 1 second I smelled pine trees and wet earth and something like years, like time folding back on itself just slightly. Then she darted behind the curtain and watched me from there. For 8 months my apartment was a disaster, and I had never been happier. Cyndaquil chased Mareep in gentle circles while she sparked at him affectionately. Heracross reorganized my bookshelf 3 times, each time wrong in a completely new way. Ho-Oh molted golden feathers that Chikorita collected and arranged in careful rows she defended with extraordinary aggression. Kingdra occupied the bathtub with the permanence of furniture. Raikou watched the sky. The black Pokeball stayed in the wooden box on the highest closet shelf. Sometimes at night I thought I could hear it, a sound like breath in an empty room. I told myself it was the building settling. I was wrong about that. Started small. Cyndaquil began waking up whimpering, his eyes open but absent, like something had taken him somewhere else and returned only the body. Mareep stopped sparking. Heracross started sleeping with his horn pointed at the closet door. The apartment developed a smell I couldn't name. Not bad exactly, just wrong. Like the air in a room where something has been extinguished. Then the temperature dropped 15 degrees in a single night and stayed there. The black ball was on the kitchen table when I woke up. Houndour sat 3 feet away from it, trembling, every hair raised. The ball opened on its own. The cold that poured out was not natural cold. It was the cold of something that fed on warmth, on memory, on the particular heat that living things carry inside themselves. The shadow that spread across my kitchen floor moved like an animal, coiling, expanding, searching every corner. Darkrai, tall, his white hair floating like it was underwater. His eyes moved across each of them slowly, and I watched Cyndaquil go rigid. Raikou turned from the window. The 2 of them looked at each other across the room, the weight of 2 things existing at opposite ends of the same ancient force. Neither moved. Then Darkrai dissolved into the corner shadow and was gone. That night everyone had nightmares except Raikou. He sat in the center of the apartment, static running low and slow like a heartbeat, and one by one they all drifted to him. Chikorita tucked under his chin. Cyndaquil curled against his flank. Ho-Oh spread one enormous wing across them all from above, a canopy of red and gold. Raikou stayed awake until morning without moving once. I sat in the doorway and didn't sleep either. Darkrai left. 3 weeks of cold and then gone. The apartment went warm. Cyndaquil set off the smoke alarm by accident, and it was the best sound I had ever heard. I thought it was over. It wasn't. 3 years passed. Chikorita became Bayleaf, then Meganium. 5 feet tall, her cream flower collar filling every room with the scent of living things, her eyes graduating from judgment to something closer to reluctant love. Cyndaquil became Kalava, then Typhlosion, broad and volcanic, flames burning blue at the core, confident in a way that made the floor feel warmer just from his presence. Mareep became Flaffy, then Ampharos, luminous, her tail bulb a steady lighthouse the others unconsciously navigated around. Houndour grew into Houndoom, curved horns gleaming, bone-white rings bright as warnings. He still patrolled every morning without fail. Ho, Raikou, and Kingdra were unchanged. Some creatures arrive already complete. Celebi flickered through time in the small private ways I had learned to recognize, appearing a breath before something happened, watching events with the quiet sadness of someone who always knew the ending before the first word was spoken. Came back in February, not gradually, like a door thrown open onto winter. Darkrai came through the window, and he was not alone. Nightmare matter cracked the walls and blackened the ceiling as it spread. 3 years had made him denser, more present, more terribly real. Meganium stepped forward first. Her flower collar bloomed fully, the scent of living things flooding the air, the direct opposite of everything Darkrai carried. It didn't stop him, but it slowed him, and that was enough. Typhlosion came from the hallway at a full run, shoulder to shoulder with Houndoom. Ampharos held the far wall, her light making the nightmare matter thin and brittle at the edges. Heracross removed a wall he found inconvenient. Kingdra surfaced through the floor. I have still never determined how. The fight moved through walls, down the stairs, into the parking lot and the street beyond. Houndoom tracked Darkrai through every shadow he tried to use, forcing him into light with relentless, quiet fury. Typhlosion burned hot enough to make the nightmare matter shriek at the edges. Heracross hit things until they stopped being a problem, his single horn carving through darkness like it was stone. Darkrai moved through all of them like smoke, not fighting to win, fighting to exhaust, pressing each of them until he found the place where the fear lived. He found it. He turned away from all of them. He turned toward me. The cold took me completely. 3 years of holding it together, of waking at 3 in the morning to count heads, of feeling my chest unlock only when every single one of them was safe and present and breathing. Celebi appeared between us. She blazed, every color at once, time folding at her edges. She took his hand in both of hers and showed him something. Something past, something future, some consequence unfolding across time that he had not accounted for. I watched his face change. His form contracted. The cold thinned. Raikou crossed the room in one step and drove him down in a pillar of lightning that left glass fused in the carpet and the air tasting of ozone for 3 days. The silence after was the loudest thing I have ever heard. The apartment was destroyed. Every wall cracked. The ceiling gone in 2 rooms. The bookshelf, Heracross's project, 3 years of persistent, wrong reorganization. Finally and completely gone. But they were all there. Typhlosion steaming. Ampharos flickering low. Houndoom pretending the cut across his muzzle didn't exist. Meganium walked to me through the rubble and pressed her enormous head against my chest. Her collar was singed at the edges. The scent was still there, rain, earth, living things, still there. Raikou returned to the window. Same position, same patience. Resuming his watch as if he had only briefly stepped away from something that still needed watching. Celebi landed on my shoulder and stayed. Her hand against my neck, small and warm. She said nothing. She didn't need to. 3 weeks later, I found the wooden box under the rubble. 10 slots. 9 empty. The black ball shattered. Cracked clean through. Dark residue at its edges. Still cold when I touched the pieces. But beside it sat a ball I had never seen before. Not one of the original 10. I was certain of that. Pale green, almost white, warm to the touch in a way that felt less like temperature and more like recognition. Celebi landed on the edge of the box beside my hand. She looked at the ball, then at me. Her expression was not fearful. It was the expression of someone watching the very first frame of something enormous and unstoppable. Patient, certain, already carrying a grief so old it had simply become part of her. The way rings are part of a tree. Whatever was inside had not arrived by accident. Nothing about any of this had ever been an accident. The ball was already humming, and from somewhere very far away, from a direction that had no name in any language I knew, something answered it.